Hi folks, Van Prepper here. For those of us who sat around and we watched and read up on the stories surrounding Cliven Bundy, the Nevada rancher, and his family in their battle against the Bureau of Land Management this weekend, I have a question. It was really kind of got me thinking off a Facebook post I was reading today. And I'm not here to comment specifically on Cliven Bundy and his family versus the Bureau of Land Management. That's, I'm still kind of on the fence on that. I don't really have the information. There's so much information out there, it's hard to tell what is true and what is not true. But what my question is we have seen an awakening over, I would say, about the last 10 to 15 years, maybe longer than that in this nation, where people are starting to wake up to the fact that we have checked our responsibilities and our rights to the government, much to our detriment. And my question is, what we saw this weekend, for those who don't know, Cliven Bundy is a rancher, and his cattle were grazing on land under the Bureau of Land Management control, and he hasn't been paying his grazing fees, and they came and began to round up some of his cattle, and there's some peripheral stuff going on there also, but I'm not going to get into that, like I said. And people from outside of Nevada began to flood in to stand with this guy against the government coming and taking his cattle. And a lot of these people were armed. And it was, there was armed people on both sides, a lot of government agency people and a lot of private citizens, other ranchers, militia people who came in and were going to stand up for this guy. And ultimately, this could have gotten ugly really fast. And I'm very thankful that it did not, and that shots were not fired and nobody was killed. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that the Bureau of Land Management or some other governmental agency is going to be back, and it would not surprise me if there is a shootout in which the government is left with no alternative and has to kill this guy's entire family. Of course, it'll be justified because, quite frankly, the government does not suffer being embarrassed. Our federal government, our betters, as they perceive themselves to be, do not suffer embarrassment lightly. And they were embarrassed this weekend, and when the Bureau of Land Management just had to back off. And that is not the last that we're going to hear about this. Now, the question that I really have, what this video is about, is this our Boston Tea Party moment? Is this the moment when that kind of swelling, that rising tide within this nation that is fed up with being dictated to by our government and fed up with being, having our rights abused, the Fourth Amendment rights abused by the NSA, our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights being attacked everywhere, our Fifth Amendment rights being attacked, just you name it. You go down the Bill of Rights, they're being attacked everywhere. And this uprising that's taking place where people are just fed up with it. Was this weekend our Boston Tea Party moment, where we sent the message to the government, listen, we're done with this. We're not taking this anymore. And the question is, are we going to see a similar response now to what we saw from King George after the Boston Tea Party? Because I guarantee you, for lack of a better term, our masters in the federal government are not going to suffer this lightly, and they are going to come down hard on, I think, everyone involved in this. And I expect that there will be a bigger blowback beyond just the people who were involved this weekend. What do you guys think? Because was this our Boston Tea Party moment, or is there another Boston Tea Party coming? Because I honestly looked this weekend, I thought we were going to see the Boston Massacre moment, the way things were shaping up. And I'm not endorsing any of this. I'm not a fool either. I can look at it and see that the government is continuing to push a group of people who is done being pushed. And at some point, we're a powder keg in this country, and something is going to set this off. And what it is, I don't know, but I don't think it's a question of if. I think it's a question of when. And it's going to get ugly. And it's not anything, if you're one of those people that's sitting around that's all excited about it, sit down, read a book, Do something constructive, because you're not helping anything trying to set off a revolution. How about spending some time praying and trying to get around this mess, if we can? But what do you think? Was this our Tea Party, Boston Tea Party moment, or is there something else coming? Who knows? We'll find out together in the days and the weeks and the months to come. I'm Van Prepper, just asking a question. Happy shooting, everybody.